going 6-0 in the division because the rest of the division sucks.
This is the best division in football, Tori.
Take that step back. We are seeing the true quarterback that he really is, which he is not a very good quarterback.
Welcome to the Man Now, where we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Won't miss a game or two, cause we here for you and we reporting all of them stats. We coming to you live to keep you updated. Broadcast across the country, we the fan favorites. Break the volume to the max and don't nobody touch it. We cross the topics off the list, addressing every subject. So if you ain't got a clue, then you can tune in and give it 24 hours and we back again. Breaking news, new scoops, we the top dogs. From the fields to the courts, we report it all. Buzzer beaters through your speakers, we the ones to call. Trust us for the news if it's got a ball. Giving you the top stories cause we love the turf. Tell a friend to tune in and where you heard it first. Yeah, you're listening to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them stats. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them facts. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them facts. Turn the speakers up a little loud. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them stats. Cause you listen to the Man Hour.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com and check out the new merchandise we do. Got Beastie beanies over there right here, right now. I got the old school Man Hour beanie on, but see, you sort of head over there and get some Beastie beanies. That's a tough word to say. Beastie beanies over there on the merchandise page. Use promo code BEASTIE at checkout to save you guys 10%. That's basically shipping. So save some dollar bills, y'all. Basically free shipping out there with you. Use promo code BEASTIE at checkout. Speaking of Beastie, he's not here tonight because, he has, I don't know, he's ice fishing in Ireland or something like that, doing something crazy, trying to color polar bears. So we got the man, the real myth, and the real legend, Mr. Tori, at man_Tori. What's going on, Tori?
I'm just here so I don't get fined, just like every other time. I'm just kidding. So, I'm happy to be here. Happy to step in. Happy every single time I'm here because this really is my happy place because this is the only time that I really get to rant and rave, and I would like to say people listen to me, but they don't.
Well, hopefully they listen to you later in the show here because you and Luke G always have great conversations, and Luke G will be joining us here in about 30 minutes here on the Man Hour, as you know, on his weekly Tuesday segment. Luke G, field review guys, check out his YouTube channel. He does great work all over there, breaking down the Lions games and talking all Lions sports here. We are also going to talk some Delvin Cook, domestic violence. Well, stay tuned for that, guys. That is big things happening a lot over there. We're going to talk some more Arizona Cardinals. Odell Beckham Jr. has cleared waivers. But, Tori, we have to start with the game last night, the Monday Night Football game. The old Pittsburgh Steelers and the rest were playing the Chicago Bears. The Steelers ended up winning 29-27 with the last-second field goal. But I'm going to kick it to you first here. Did the refs cost the Bears the game last night?
I have zero clue because I didn't even watch the game last night. I only watch good football, and there was nobody worth watching at all last night.
Wow.
There's just, if it's a good couple of teams playing, I'll watch them. But there was nobody worth watching last night. Chicago, trash. Pittsburgh, overrated trash. Although I should have watched it. Was it TJ Watt?
Yeah.
Got his 60th career sack already. He joins Reggie White and his brother JJ as some of the fastest players to ever get to that milestone. Has he only been in the league like 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, and then he just signed his 5-year, $100 million deal too. So he's definitely doing something right over there.
Well, I take that back. Then that's probably his 5th year, but still, his 5th year and he's got 60 sacks already.
Yeah.
And we're halfway through that 5th year.
Yeah, so that's like 12, 13 sacks a year, right?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah,
crazy. And what college did he play for? Oh, that's right, my Wisconsin Badgers.
I love how you're like, well, what? Who did he play for? Oh, that's right. The best team in the Big Ten that's overrated, right? The best team.
No, they're probably the best team in the Big Ten right now, the way they've played the last 5 weeks.
True.
So if you look at, Leo Chanel, the middle linebacker, is the number 1 rated linebacker right now in the country.
Yeah, the active linebacker, because obviously the guy from Georgia is inactive for rape. But
is he? I didn't even hear about that.
Man, where have you been, Tori? Living underneath that rock over there?
I mean, I don't listen to anything. As soon as you bring up SEC to me, I just tune out. Like, yeah, no, I could care less about the SEC. Everybody's like, SEC, just nothing. I have gone off to space because I am so sick of anything SEC, like the end all be all. Like everybody's go, oh, the Big Ten's having a down year. No. And I will say, I'll give you my theory on this. My theory is the Big Ten's not having a down year. They're the first league that's really showing parity because of the NIL stuff.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what school you go to now. You're going to see now with the NIL stuff, whatever ranked recruit that is from Huntington, West Virginia, go to West Virginia. Or I take that back. Is it Marshall that's in Huntington?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
So So you're going to see a top 5 football player in the country go to Marshall because mom or dad or grandma or grandpa has stage 4 cancer, might not make it. They're going to stay close to home because they can now.
Right.
Because they're going to get paid to play. And I really think that's part of why the Big Ten is the way it is right now. They're starting to show that parity already because of the NIL stuff, because players are going to go, A, where they want to go no matter what, and B, they can get paid to play wherever they go.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you go.
If you want to go down that hole, let's just be see, and I'm going to go the different route. Like, I think there's going to be less parity in a few years because people are going to see these kids making millions of dollars playing for Alabama being on the bench. So why not be a 5-star recruit and sit on the bench for Alabama for a year, make $1 million, and then play for the next 2 seasons, or go to Kentucky and play for 4 and make $100K. Rather had the $1 million, right?
Yeah, but they're still, if they are that good coming out of college or coming out of high school, they're going to get that deal because that name, even if you're a top 5 athlete going to school, your name's going to carry weight no matter what for at least 2 years. So if somebody's going to sign you as soon as you graduate high school, probably the day after you graduate high school, they're going to be like, sign on the dotted line here, buddy, for X amount of dollars. It does not matter where you go to school at that point.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's high school kids signing deals now too. There's that quarterback in Texas that signed that $1 million car dealership, right?
Didn't see that one yet either.
Yeah,
like I really am out of the loop. What the hell?
That was when the NIL first started happening. He was a 16 or 17-year-old quarterback. I believe he's going to Ohio State. So, dude that has the long hair, like the pretty boy, sunshine boy from probably like Dallas, Texas, or something crazy, just like that. But he it was a car dealership gave him $1 million and like a truck and a car to drive around. So, like, I don't know if it's his parents' car dealership or what, but
see, and I think because that's a totally different set of rules because that governs college athletes. It doesn't govern. The thing is, if his football season's over, it doesn't matter if he's not playing any other sport. What the hell does he care if he gets ruled ineligible to play sports at that point? You know.
Well, mean, does high school have those rules though? Because I don't think high school does.
Our high schools do.
Really?
Oh God, yeah, our high school did.
See, like I don't ever remember hearing that in like my high school. And we got free meals like all the time.
Yeah, no, we couldn't have any of that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, no. And they're getting it can vary from state to state.
Right, yeah.
In Kansas, they don't even teach evolution. So what does that tell you about your education?
Yeah, and 2 + 2 equals 5 half the time. But we digress from that. But let's get into back the topic of choice here. And I want to talk about the Chicago Bears. And I think the refs ultimately did cost them the game because there are 3 or 4 big calls that come to mind right off the bat. So when Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears were driving down the field, they were on the 5-yard line, and Justin Fields threw an out route touchdown to the tight end, and that play got called back for a low block on the touchdown pass, which was absolutely BS call because, first of all, the guy didn't even touch TJ Watt. Secondly, he was in the tight end box still. And 3, he didn't even touch TJ Watt for the second time. And then the very next play, there's a late hit on Justin Fields. The dude took 3 steps and put a forearm in the back of his head. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, nothing.
Oh,
I was going to ask if TJ Watt got touched.
No, he didn't get touched at all. He definitely whiffed on the block. And then obviously the big call was the taunting call late in the fourth quarter, like 3 minutes left to go. If you guys haven't seen the taunting call, you should see it because it's not a taunting call. We'll get into that later in the show here, like a little bit, Tori. So 100%. The referees cost Pittsburgh Steelers the game because of those 3 or 4 bad calls. And when you consistently cost teams games like this, we have to say, like, we have to start thinking, what is wrong with the referees, Tori? Just because we have seen a massive decline in referees' good calls, or just they have such shitty calls as of late. Like, why do you think that is? Like, why are the referees so bad at their jobs right now? Not just NFL, but Major League and hell, probably even hockey and NBA. Like, why are the referees so bad right now?
Because they can't bet on sports anymore. They're just pissed off. I don't want to get Tim Donaghy. No,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just with such the turnover. Like, you've had a lot of new refs come into the league over the last few years. It could be that, you've seen a lot of the old guard. They don't have Ed Hockley's biceps to hang off of anymore. So,
right.
There's just, many different factors. It's a snap judgment call. It's easy for us to say that's an awful call because we just got to watch it 17 times
Right.
in slow motion. They're making that call full speed on the thing, and they get it right more often than they get it wrong. So, everything being equal, eventually it comes out, it evens itself out. It may not feel like it. Like, as a Packer fan, like, I'm one of those that would be like, these refs suck. The Packers don't get any calls, but this year it's been like, we're getting a lot of calls.
Yeah,
like,
well, Packers fans,
stupid.
Packers always get a lot of calls because Aaron Rodgers has always been in their back hip. So
Who?
Come on, Aaron Rodgers.
Who's that?
Your guys' quarterback of the future.
Jordan Love?
But honestly, like, the refs are making calls that are definitely changing the momentums of the game, right? They're slowing it way down. Hell, what was it? It was that Cowboys, was it Rams game when there was like 30-some flags in the first half alone? Like, it was just like, man, this game is still not at halftime yet, and it was like all the other games were in the fourth quarter, and we're still like the second quarter, like 10 minutes left to play. You're like, what is going on? It's just like, I don't understand it. Is like, are they relying too much on instant replay to make the correct call, and just like they're scared to make a judgment call?
No, it's a snap call. Like I said, we get the benefit of seeing it umpteen times. They're looking full speed doing the call. Like, you don't know what you don't know at that point, and that's true for any situation. You're going to make a bad call. Are you perfect at your job or in life?
I have to be perfect at my job, or Ford gets shut down, and my ass is grass. Let's just be honest.
I mean, I make mistakes at my job.
You shouldn't.
I do.
You get paid a lot of money to make mistakes, Tori. Come on now. No, but there are some plays out there where they're just like blatantly stupid ass calls. Let's take that late hit for Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields threw the ball away. He looked down, tied his shoe, stood back up, and the dude put a forearm in the back of his head. Like, how are you not calling that? Like, that was, I think it's all like at least 3 steps, and then a forearm in the back of the head. I mean, that just a forearm alone to Tom Brady's head, you are suspended for 6 weeks. Why is it different for Justin Fields?
As we used to say in my old field of work, get some time, rookie.
Get some time, rookie.
So, I mean, the thing is, you watch the Chiefs-Packer game just as I did, and there was calls, like, there was one time there was a late hit on Love. It wasn't egregious, it wasn't terrible, but he didn't get the flag. And you know what? If Aaron Rodgers had been in there, that flag would have been thrown. It's because, like,
I think about that.
There's calls that older quarterbacks are going to get because they've established themselves and they're the face of the league. Do you really want to be that ref that didn't throw the flag on a guy that ended Tom Brady's career.
Oh, I would love that. I would love to be known for that. Fuck Tom Brady.
So I'm just using that as an example. So therefore they are
Yeah,
going to throw
I
those
get you.
flags a lot quicker for a quarterback that is a big name that is established, because if you are the one that doesn't throw that flag, and let's not even say end their career, maybe end their season,
Right.
and you didn't throw that flag, you good luck getting out of that stadium. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's a
Whereas
great point there. Yeah.
whereas just like a Justin Fields or a Jordan Love, you're not going to get those calls, because who the hell are you, rookie? You've not proven anything. You could be out of this league in 3 years and nobody's going to remember your name in 5.
True. So with that, with all that being said, you brought up Justin Fields having to prove himself, and he is starting to prove himself. He is starting to get more comfortable at the quarterback position. He had a career high 291 yards on Monday night. He went 17 for 29 with a touchdown and an interception, along with an interception as well, I should say, and 45 yards on the ground. How good is Justin Fields' performance on Monday, plus his growth from week 2 to going into week 10 now? Are you impressed with Justin Fields? Is he going to be the franchise quarterback that everybody thinks he's going to be?
Absolutely. I mean, that's, Brandon likes to rag that. Like, I don't like any of the young quarterbacks. I like Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is going to be a great quarterback. I really, really do. And if you ask me, I think Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence are going to be the two best out of this. Mac Jones is coming into that conversation, because I can't say Mac is trash no more. And Zach Wilson is exactly who I thought he was.
So hang on one second here. You said Trevor Lawrence was going to be one of the best quarterbacks from this draft?
Yeah.
Really? Mr.
Yeah.
Bust labeled himself already. That's probably going to miss Sunday because he has a sprained ankle or something stupid, right? Come, you're telling me that Trevor Lawrence is not going to be a bust?
No. If you think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust, you got another thing coming.
I don't have to think. I already see it. I already see it in his mannerisms. I already see it the way his offensive line and like offense isn't rallying around him. Like, when you see good quarterbacks, good leaders, let's look at Jets quarterback, not Zach Wilson, Mike White. When Mike White came in there, I believe it was you said that they were excited to see him play. They were pumped up. They were ready to play that game. When I watch Jacksonville games, they are not excited to have Trevor Lawrence in there. They're just kind of like, oh man, this fucking pretty boy.
I don't think that. It's more the fact that they're like, fuck, I'm stuck. Oh, I mean, I can't say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can. You're fine.
Like, I'm stuck playing in Jacksonville. At that point, it's a culture issue with it there. Like, they're not a good team. They're literally going through the motions. There is nothing for them to be hyped up about at this point.
Except for maybe Urban Meyer getting laid.
Right? I mean, the thing is as ugly as that game was, they hung with one of the best teams in the NFL and beat them on Sunday. As ugly as that game was. Like, both teams tried to give that game away multiple times. It wasn't one, but you got to give both the defenses credit. They both played extremely well. However, you play that game 100 times. How often is Jacksonville beating them? Probably that one time.
100%, yeah.
99 other times, Buffalo's playing them, or Buffalo's beating them.
Josh Allen does not have an interception, a strip sack, and a fumble recovery those games either.
All by Josh Allen.
Right? Yeah. It just that probably doesn't happen. Tori, I can probably give you 3 reasons why Trevor Lawrence will be a bust off the top of my head. 1, he does play in Jacksonville. 2, Urban Meyer is his coach. Trevor Lawrence in his 5-year contract year that he has with Jaguars, he'll probably go through 3 NFL head coaches. Urban Meyer will probably leave by week 8 next year, so he'll have like that mid-season slump type thing there. And 3, I just don't think he has that it factor in him. In college, he was great. He was arguably one of the best college quarterbacks ever, right? But he just doesn't have that it factor. When everybody else has the same talent as him, he doesn't have hit. Can you give me a few reasons why you think he won't be a bust?
Have you seen some of the throws the kid's made? He's made really good NFL quality throws. The problem is he's not doing it consistently, but guess what? He's a rookie.
Right.
You got tossed in there, and there again, you're playing in Jacksonville. You're not a good football team. What you're going to see is them invest heavily in their offensive line over the next couple of years so they can give him time so the poor kid doesn't get killed. He's athletic enough right now that he can move around and he can do that. However, David Carr syndrome. You get hit enough times
right.
behind a bad offensive line, you become not a good quarterback due to no fault of your own. It's that you've become gun shy.
Well, so I could say the same thing about Patrick Mahomes. Me as a Chiefs fan, he had excellent throws his second and third year in the league. This year, those passes that he was completing year 2 and year 3, they're falling on the dirt here right now. And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to make those same throws next year or 2 years down the road, and they're going to be falling in the dirt. So, like, you cannot predicate yourself on, like, making these out crazy ass throws and hoping that doesn't give you the bust label, because right now, if Patrick Mahomes continues on the path he is and follows us up next year, I'm going to put the bust label on him as a Chiefs fan, even though he's won a Super Bowl, he's won 2 AFC championship games, he's gone to 3 AFC championship games back to back, right? If he performs the way he is right now for the rest of the season onto next season, bust. Trevor Lawrence is going to have the same syndrome in him.
No, I think I do agree with you. Urban Meyer is not the coach for that team. That is not the coach that you build a winning atmosphere with, because he builds winning atmosphere, but he quits. He's known to quit. And as soon as the going gets tough, anytime he has quit.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, health concerns.
I'm really surprised he hasn't had a heart attack yet after he got caught banging those strippers or whatever they were.
No. He thought he forgot he was in Jacksonville, thought he was in Gainesville.
Right. People don't know me here, right? No, I'm totally kidding.
Oh,
speaking of known people, Tori, we know some people. A wonderful man by the name of Luke G, and he owns a podcast called Luke G's Field Review. Welcome to the show, Luke. What's going on tonight, buddy?
Hey, salute tonight, fellas. What's going on?
There you go. Man, I am every Tuesday I get hyped up to talk to you because it first of all, it makes me smile because you have such a level-headed way of looking at the sport, and it pisses Tori off. And then Combs.
No, it doesn't.
Or sorry, I'm sorry. It pisses Combs off.
How often do you see me get pissed off?
Once a week, maybe. No, I'm totally kidding. But Combs isn't here tonight, so we could actually have a legitimate conversation, right? So first things first, Luke. How are you doing tonight, bud?
I'm good. I was sitting up here today, and I was like, what am I going to talk about? And they hit me like a ton of bricks. So I was like, I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm ecstatic to talk about this one. This is gonna cause some conflict. I can feel it in the air.
Okay, well, before we cause some conflict, because I'm still coming down from last night. Hashtag bench Mahomes. If you missed that, I was trying to get that trending on Twitter, but it didn't work. Where can people find your show? What is it? And what is it all about?
First thing, you can locate me on YouTube at Luke G's Field Review. It's all about me covering the Detroit Lions football, and in general. Because I think they don't get the right representation in the media as they should. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at Phil G's. So you can hit me up with either one of those. And if you go to any of my videos, you can join my Discord if you want to just talk all lines. But in the Discord, we talk everything: basketball, boxing, video games. The Discord is an open space for you to enjoy yourself and be a human being, but do it respectfully. And so basically, I just make sure I cover football in perspective and objectively to make sure that we're getting the truth versus what media would like you to believe.
So last night we had a person on for his weekly segment called Kev, and he does the real bottom line. Like, he tells you the story inside the sports, right? And we brought up the Cincinnati Bengals last night, and Combs said that they were a 9-7 team. Kev asked, are they a 9-7 team, or is their record going to show them be a 9-7 team? Meaning, just because they are playing a fourth place schedule, is their schedule going to reflect like how good they actually are? And then me kind of being the troll that I am, let's just be honest, I said, well, hey, the Lions might go 0-17, but they are 11-win team. So just go ahead and put them in the playoff right now. Do you agree with that as a Lions fan? Like at all? Or, like, are they still a halfway decent team?
To be honest with you, the way I break it down is this: if you go through and you look at the Detroit Lions, they might be the best 0-8 team you've seen in a long time.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because there's really only 2 games that you can say that they were never in, and that is the Bengals game and the Eagles game. And I noticed that this Lions team play up and play down to their opponents. But the bigger part of it is they're competing in games with their 5th and 6th string players. And so now you got to ask yourself the question of what happens when they start getting real starters?
Right.
What happens when they started getting people back healthy? What happens when they actually discover their true identity? Right now, they're giving people a run for their money, and they're making them think twice about what they're doing, and they're being very aggressive. So no, I don't think you're far off in your view of it. I think if you go through and you look at it, 6 of those 8 could have been a win to go either way, right? It took the breath of God on a 66-yard field goal and a bounce and a prayer for that to be a loss against the Ravens. A kicker who has never made a kick over 40-something yards, he got a breath of fresh air with a long kick against the Vikings. You come out, you dominate the Green Bay Packers for a half, but obviously you didn't sustain yourself the second half.
Then you got dominated the second half.
Oh, they definitely got dominated the second half. I would definitely give them that. But they played into the strength of the Green Bay Packers in that game. Nonetheless, keep in mind, if they kept that same energy in the first half, we're not having this conversation.
The thing is what the Lions needed to realize in that game was just keep running the ball. Green Bay wasn't going to be able to stop you.
Yeah, they couldn't. I don't understand. I think I lost my cap when they didn't do this, because I've been pointing this out to people, and people think it's not that big of a deal. But I'm like, hey, it's been 8 games, and we haven't had a running back get over 14 carries.
Right.
How?
Ask the Chiefs how well that's working on a 5-4 record too.
Not well.
Yeah, that's why they're struggling. That run game is not there. The idea of a run game is not there. And I think what you're seeing with Patrick Mahomes is he's getting the Matthew Stafford treatment. I'm going to take away your targets and just pass rush all game. If you can run it, God bless you. That's how they're doing.
Yeah, so guys, if you like talk like this is exactly what Luke does over on his YouTube channel. So be sure to go to subscribe to him. He's only on the road to 3,000 subs. So I mean, he's definitely doing great work over there. So Luke, what do you want to talk about tonight, man?
All right, listen. I've been sitting up here all day. It's killing me.
Uh-oh.
We have to remove the stigma or the tradition of giving the MVP award to offensive players, because this year is 100% the year that a defensive player should not only win the MVP, but they should win it handily. I'll explain. If you were to go through and you look at, say, a guy like Myles Garrett, if you were to look at a guy like, say, like Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey, or even I dare say Diggs, you can say to yourself, God, what they are doing individually is directly affecting games, and nobody's doing it better than them. When you go through our usual suspects, Aaron Rodgers, here's a guy who had a horrible outing early on in this year. It had some spotty play here and there, and now people are calling him a liar because he used some very clever wording. But he's not the MVP right now. At one point, they said it was going to be Matthew Stafford and the Rams because, hey, the Rams are winning and Stafford looks great. But let's be honest. He, in and of himself, is not affecting these games by himself. He needs receivers to catch the ball. He needs protection. He needs run games. Let's be honest about it.
I could win the MVP throwing to Cooper Kupp and Robert.
I'm just saying, like, it's not that case. And when you go to Patrick Mahomes, I mean, would a real Patrick Mahomes please stand up? He's been pretty suspect this season. A lot of things that are occurring is very out of character. He doesn't seem focused, so we can't put him in there. And if we go down the road to Derrick Henry, well, hey, that opportunity is gone. He's hurt, and we don't know when he's going to be back. So that completes that task right there for the running back position. Now let's go on down to the next possible person in Tom Brady. He's had a few games where I've went, why? What? When? Stop it. And ask the same question. When has he stood up? But there are certain defensive players who week in, week out have showed up, showed out, and have made a significant difference in changing the outcome of games with their play. This it's a perfect example and a perfect opportunity for the league to be fair, not force it on somebody named Aaron Rodgers or some quarterback, but to give it to the actual best player this year who is affecting change. If they don't do that, then by God, we need to pray for this league, because the truth is the MVP this year is somewhere on a defense.
You hear to hear first here, folks. Luke G just said Kevin King is the MVP of the league.
I've never said that. The drugs that you're
No.
taking today, no way.
Nobody in the history of any even Packer fan would say Kevin King is the MVP.
I mean, I will give him this though. He has played a little bit better, but
He has played, but he doesn't have. Well, no, he played this week, but he does.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's a physical corner. He doesn't have the top end speed. Like, he has to jam you at the line, or you're going by him. You're going way by him.
Oh, so he's Jeff Okuda. I got it. I totally get it. I would probably move him to safety if it was me and see if he can do something there. But that's another story.
Who are you going to take out of there? Darnell Savage or Adrian Amos?
Listen, you got to start grooming him to do that, because it's not going to look good at this point. And when they brought him back, everybody laughed and stuff. So
who's your defensive MVP? Who do you think should be considered for MVP then? Like, for me, if we're going to I'm throwing my hat in the ring on TJ Watt. TJ Watt is unstoppable this year.
You know what's funny? Ironically, that was the guy I was going to say. I said, you look at situational football, crunch time. He's in there putting pressure on quarterbacks, disrupting plays, causing turnovers in crucial time. I really think that, this year, TJ Watt has made quarterbacks see black and yellow the entire time. And so to me, when you have that ability, because I've seen plays where the quarterback is so concerned with him, they're moving in spots that's not even necessarily needed to be moved. Like, where are you going? Sit there. The pocket is clean sometimes, but they're just like, oh, he's there. And they move, and so
they hear them footsteps no matter how far away they are.
And that's the power. That's the power of it. That's why it should be a defensive player. I think the last defensive MVP was Ray Lewis, or I might be wrong on that. I'm drawing a blank. But it's time. It's time that we stop acting as if though it has to be an offensive player. I mean, I know y'all like fantasy football, but let's be honest. Most of these games are being decided by a defense, unless there's some other type of strange phenomenon going on, like insider gambling. But we're going to leave that for another day.
Tori, Tori, I gotta let you have the floor first on this. Do you think the quarterback wins the MVP this year or not?
No, I actually, at this point, it's up in the air as to who could win it. Like, I don't think there's actually a clear-cut person to win it. It doesn't need to be a quarterback. If you were going to put a gun to my head and say, which quarterback do you think could do it? I would throw Stafford out there because he's played the best. I wouldn't even say Aaron. Aaron, since the first week, has thrown 17 touchdowns and 1 interception. So, no, I wouldn't even say Aaron. It's because Stafford has single-handedly I don't want to say elevated the Rams. He re-elevated the Rams back to where they were a couple of years ago when they were a Super Bowl team. Like, he's got them back to that level where Jared Goff could not sustain that level of play. So if you're going to say you got to pick a quarterback, I would have to pick Stafford. If you're going to say pick anybody in the league, your guess is as good as mine. At that point, I might say if Jamar Chase keeps playing the way he's playing, Jamar Chase could win Rookie of the Year and MVP.
Right. So we've talked about this before, Luke and Tori, and the MVP for the NFL is the best quarterback on the best team in the NFL. Those aren't my words. That's what my eyes tell me year after year after year. And since it's never going to change because it's the best quarterback on the best team, clearly you have to go with the Josh Allens or the Dak Prescotts or somebody like that. I'm never going to put Lamar Jackson's name in MVP because he is complete trash. They are still them boys. They're still the best team in the NFC. We'll talk about that later. Tori, I think Kyler Murray is going to be a bust here in a couple years as well.
That's he's 5'5".
Exactly. We'll get into that later.
Except if you look at what he's listed at, they're like 5'11".
Like, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
But to further your guys' point, Trayvon Diggs is having the best defensive career or the best defensive of season I think ever in NFL history through the first 9 games or through first 10 games of the
What has he got,
season.
like seven interceptions.
Seven
or
interceptions.
eight?
Yeah, right. But
And
with
the
that being
record's, what,
said,
13?
this year the MVP is going to be somebody that we least expect, and that's going to be from the LA Chargers, Justin Herbert, because he is going to be the best quarterback on the best team, and right now that's going to be the LA Chargers at the end of the season. Sorry, Luke, to burst your bubble. TJ Watt's not going to win it. Trayvon Diggs isn't going to win it. Kevin King's not going to win it. Von Miller's not going to win it. It's going to be a quarterback on the best team. That's going to be Justin Herbert at the end of the day.
And I think it's a shame. I think it's an absolute shame because you have the MVP stands for most valuable player.
I agree with you, Luke. I agree with you, but the NFL tells you it's the best quarterback on the best team.
Well, they did it. They did it one time for Ray Lewis, if I'm not mistaken, and I can't remember.
That's because he literally had a gun held to their head. Like, you want it to end up in the trunk too?
So quick little side note, a little bit of breaking news from the NFL. The NFL has come down on the Green Bay Packers $300,000 fine for breach of COVID protocols.
Oh, man.
And
Slap
Rodgers,
on that wrist.
And Rodgers and Alan Lazard each fined just under $15,000 for not following procedure. Well, the thing is, though, that's going to hurt Lazard. That's probably almost 10% of Lazard's salary.
So
the reality is this. I find it funny that the NFL even came down on the Packers because let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers didn't lie. He just told the truth.
He misrepresented the truth when they said, "Are you He said, "They said, are you vaccinated?" He said, "I'm immunized."
Okay, so
Exactly.
hang on. We talked about this a lot last night because that was a lead topic, and you guys are going to fire me up again here. I hope you're happy, but Aaron Rodgers did nothing wrong. Who did stuff wrong here was the NFL because they sent him a letter saying you are in unvaccinated status, but yet they still allowed him to go to press conferences without a mask on, with the sideline like without a mask.
Yep.
So if anybody should be fined, it should be Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be fined at all. Like, it is like looking at a kid and say, you know better when you're 5 years old. You don't know better because, I've been doing it for 10 weeks in a row. Why is it bad now? Screw that. That is total BS.
I agree, and it's one of the reasons why when it came out and they was like, "Oh, you lied," and I heard Terry Bradshaw and all these other people go off and say, "Oh, he lied." And I'm like, no, they should have asked better questions. They asked, "Are you vaccinated?" And he responded, "I am immunized," which is true. He is immunized. He never lied. He just indirectly answered the question. However, the NFL's always made aware of this because they had him on that, as you heard Buck State. They knew they had him as a unvaccinated person and so forth. And he said himself, it's a lot of people on this team that's not vaccinated. So my thing is this: if we're finding players for this, it's like, okay, cool. Well, why are you letting them do all these things? You're the one letting them go out there and do every single thing like it's nobody's business, because you know why? It was putting butts in the seats and giving people a reason to watch games on primetime TV. And that's why they don't want to talk about the ugly truth of why they're trying to come down on it. He did nothing wrong. They allow for him to be what he's always been. And now they want to try to act like, well, we're serious about it. Smack on the wrist for a few $100,000. It's a joke.
Jeez. Tori, you being part owner of the Green Bay Packers here, why are you not taking this in your hands and starting to GoFundMe to help pay Aaron Rodgers' fine and help him keep him in town?
Aaron Rodgers makes more by looking at a camera than I make in a year.
So?
This is true.
So are you saying that you are okay with the fine, Tori, even though the NFL proceeded for 9 weeks or 8 weeks allow him to do what he's been doing all season or
the big thing is that where they came down on the players is because they weren't wearing the masks to the press conference and stuff like that, like they're supposed to. That's where they're coming after them.
Should have done that week 2 when they didn't do it.
It should have been week 1. So obviously, living where I do, like, I listen to ESPN Milwaukee a lot, and so there's Jason Wilde. If you've ever If you ever want to tune into a Wisconsin radio broadcast, he does a show with Mark Tauscher, who's a former Packer lineman, called Wildy and Tausch, and so he does all the pressers and everything else. And he had said, he goes, you know, when this all came out, and somebody said, like, and he's talking going back to when they were in training camp and when this first came and was asked, and he said, I screwed up as a journalist and didn't ask the question, even though I thought it. He goes, I thought it was really weird that he said I'm immunized versus yes, I'm vaccinated.
Which
and
is not a lie.
Right. And he said at that point, you know, everybody's kind of said, okay, well, he used whatever words. He goes, it struck me as odd. And I failed then. He goes, because it's something that I should have asked to follow up. I thought about asking the follow up and did not.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you look at it, that's what should have happened. What should have happened was the moment he said, I'm immunized, like, okay, yeah, most of us are this in this country. Like, but that's not what we're asking you. Have you been vaccinated from, we're going to call it the illness. I don't want no demonetization.
Demonetized.
Yeah, right. So, but we're going to call it the illness. Have you been, vaccinated for the illness? And if he goes yay or nay, then yeah, he can't get around it. But once he said he's immunized, they were perfectly happy. They were smitten that he's clarified it, and they didn't care. They knew what the hell he meant. I mean, seriously, he never. That's like somebody. That's just literally like somebody asking, like, "Are you hungry?" Well, I can eat. Like it's not something that they're denying it. They're saying it, but they're not telling you directly. Yeah, I did this, or I'm hungry. And I think that's what it is with A-Rod. He didn't do anything wrong. The media people who asked questions failed.
Tori, I feel like you got something to say about that. Because didn't you, or no, Luke said that, no, who said that he lied?
It wasn't me. I didn't think he lied. Even when he said it, I was like, well, I'm like, nobody's going to follow that up with, are you vaccinated?
I said he misrepresented the truth.
But he didn't.
Yeah. How did he misrepresent the truth, though?
Knowing what they were asking, he knew what they were asking. You can't say, "Oh, I didn't figure they know." He knew what they were asking and said, and he did it smart. I give him that, and this is where I always talk about Aaron is like troll level 1,000, like he's a master troll. And he said, "I'm immunized." He played it, and he played it perfectly. Like I'm not thrilled with it as a fan, because I do feel kind of like, okay, you kind of lied. And my thing is because you did go to these press conferences then with no mask on when you should have been masking up then at that point. So like that's where I'm mad, is because you potentially put other people at risk, and I'm never going to advocate you to put other people at risk.
So here's what I'm upset about the whole situation. He said that the NFL
you made out with them.
What?
You made out with him, and then we're mad that he didn't tell you that he had the illness.
Tori, every time I try to be serious, man, you take it this man. No, come on, man, come on now. No, so what I'm mad about is that Aaron Rodgers called out the NFL, saying they're basically kind of forcing people to take the vaccine, and they saying that if you had the vaccine, you cannot spread it, right? And then the NFL come out and said that we blatantly did not say that, and called Aaron Rodgers basically a liar to his face in a roundabout way. And that was the whole push for the vaccine when it first came out. It was like, oh, if you have this, you cannot get it, and then you cannot spread it, and like all that, all this other stuff.
That's my biggest complaint, where the vaccinated or not vaccinated part becomes a little bit of a moot point, because even if you are vaccinated, you can still get it. I'm vaccinated. Yeah. I can still get it. Like, you can still get it. You're probably just not going to die. For me, that's probably a good thing, or,
yeah.
It depends which day of the week you catch me on. Maybe I might say, please kill me.
Plus, I think the way questions are asked is they have to be better at their jobs. I'll never forget when I was a teenager, I snuck to this party, right? And my mom happened to call me when I was at the party. And I walked out of the party and got into the car and answered the phone. And she goes, "Son, are you at the party?" And I said, "No, I'm in the car." Because that's exactly where I was at. I was in the car, not at the party. Now, had she had to ask me, "Son, did you go to that party that I said not to go to?" And I would have said, no, that's a lie. I did go. But she asked me, where are you at right now? Are you at the party? Nope. I'm at the car. Ask the
Sheesh.
right questions next time. You'll get the right answers. Just
That is,
saying.
you sound like my mother at that point. My mom has said that to me. She said, I've learned with you, I need to ask the right questions or I do not get the answer I'm looking for with you.
Exactly. Ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. You'll get the right answers.
So,
That's all it is.
so speaking of asking the right questions, and we got NFC North guys right here with Luke G and Tori, obviously a Lions fan and a Packers fan. We got news from the Minnesota Vikings that Delvin Cook was a victim of domestic abuse and extortion. Like, this is just coming out within like the half hour, Tori, maybe like an hour.
Last hour.
Yeah. And then so we're slowly trying to figure out this news. Luke, when you hear that Delvin Cook, the Minnesota Vikings running back, has been a victim of domestic abuse, what's the first thing that comes to mind to you? Is his wife like beating him, or maybe just like Tori said, like maybe his uncles forced him to pay him to keep his mouth shut or something? Like, what do you think is going on up there?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is sadness, because the moment a man comes out and say that he's a victim of domestic anything, it's looked down upon like, oh yeah, really? And the fact that he's a football player with muscles and he works out,
Yeah.
oh, you just really and it's a shame. I work in the field where I get to see things I shouldn't have to see. However, I can tell you this much. If you were to go on Google right now and literally Google the number of domestic violence shelters for males, good luck. Good luck. Find me one no matter where you stay and tell me how many it is.
Right.
If you find more than 2, your state is doing great. And if you go through and you look at the numbers of it, if this story was flipped any other way, if it was, oh, Delvin Cook is not the victim, but he's the aggressor, oh, it would be all over it, suspensions and fines and everything. But where's the sympathy? Where's the sorrow? Where's the empathy? And where is the attitude from the fan base, the people in the media, to say this is horrible, this should not be happening to him? I'm not saying any of that, and I'm just simply saying that he's a victim of domestic violence. And I read some of the comments on the article, and they were discussing like, oh, big old you getting beat up, but if he hit him back, aka Joe Mixon, it's a whole nother story. So
yep.
I'm saddened by the story. It may not even, I don't even think it may be a wife or girlfriend, even if it is, or if it is a family member, whatever the case is, he's the victim. And that's the part that we need to focus on.
Yeah. Well, and when we see that he is the victim, like, it is not breaking news on ESPN or anything just like that. It was just kind of just it was just a blurb on my phone. Oh, per Adam Schefter, Dalvin Cook has been, or like his agent spoke out on like his behalf or something. Just to
and to reiterate what Luke said, if it had been the other way around, that Delvin Cook, there would have been the sirens and breaking news that Delvin Cook beat the crap out of whoever.
Hashtag me too, right?
The Vikings have already cut Delvin Cook. Like, it would have been everywhere immediately. But like you said, all of a sudden it becomes a blurb because that's not supposed to happen because he's a football player. Like, guess there again, for all we know, maybe it is a significant other that does just beat him because he knows if he swings back, he is going to jail and he is going to get labeled as a woman beater.
Oh, and she'll get a lot of money too, right?
Absolutely. So, and there again, what makes me think it's probably a family member is the extortion part that comes into it. Like, what are they trying to extort from him? Or are they just gonna, maybe say something, like make something up, say this is what he does in his off time, like, it's people trying. It's a sad situation all around. I just figured when I first saw it, I figured that it was the Minnesota Vikings because playing them for them is just abuse enough. But but I honestly, I feel for Delvin Cook, buddy. I'm here for you. I will talk to you. I will get you a green and gold jersey to cuddle with at night and make you feel better and feel safe. So I really hope it comes out, and honestly, I really hope that he gets the help that he needs right now. I really hope that the support system is there. The NFL better back him as hard they would as if it was the opposite way around and they would back, the victim, and the NFL would be like, the NFL would like to reach out to whoever. No, you better show him the same damn support that you would if the roles were reversed, because you would ostracize him in a heartbeat if it was him that hit a woman or
Yep.
hit anybody else. You better come out and support him and say, we have Dalvin's back 110%.
I mean,
If you do not, this league is nothing but a bunch of hypocrites.
well, the story goes this. It says, and this is according to Pro Football Talk. It says, roughly a year ago, someone unlawfully entered Cook's house. The female, which I find very ironic, because let that had been the other way around, she would have been the name. Yes, Miss Mackey was hit by Devin Cook, right? They're going to name her, but now they're protecting her by saying the female
they
did it.
They would have called her a young lady to make her even more of it. Like they would word it to make it more of a victim. Lady that was hit.
She's such an angel. The female who did it is a sergeant in the U.S. military. It says that she attacked Cook in his home while he had a guest present. The invader then allegedly tried to extort Cook for millions of dollars, claiming that she suffered injuries during the course of the attack that she allegedly initiated. Because she allegedly entered Cook's house illegally, he had the right to defend himself as authorized by Minnesota's version of the Castle Doctrine. So it's really weird, because I promise you, if you reverse this story around, right? Because, and this is how also it is in Michigan as well, if that person comes in the house and he shoots her, and he goes on trial, he's out of work, he's out of employment, he's out of money, he's out of everything. But instead, he had to take an ass whooping, pardon my French, and essentially be victimized. And it's like you get a splash report.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
So this brings up, Tori, you don't know about this, but it was the Georgia linebacker. His last name's Anderson. The first name slipping my mind right now, but he was accused of rape. So before, he has not been arrested, he has not been formally charged, he hasn't even been questioned in the situation yet. But Georgia football has already suspended him for the rest of the season. So, like, let's say this guy would have got raped, and then, he would have went to the police. It would have just been a blurb as well. So, Luke, why are the roles so reversed in this type of situation? Just because, like, I remember reading a story about a year and a half ago where I believe it was over 65% of abusive relationships, the men are being abused. Like, why?
So as a person who's somewhat in that field, what I've noticed is why the roles are being reversed is because the idea of the man not having the strength to stop said attack is the thing that they look at. And people often downplay it because it's like, oh, you're a guy, you should be stronger than that lady, versus letting her just do these things. But the reality is this is the way that the system has always been. It's been designed to be double standard, and that is why things are the way they are. I mean, I looked at the story for Joe Mixon, and I as a person who do not believe in domestic violence and do not believe putting hands on the female, you call me a racial slur and spit in my face, I cannot tell you what I would do. And the fact that he responded the way he did, he was punished severely and almost not even drafted at one point. But somebody on the Bengals looked at it and said, you know what? You got spit on, which is assault, and you got called a racial slur. You hit him one time, and she's the victim. And so I think what you're seeing is a system that has always been in place to make sure that they're keeping man in check. And that's why you're seeing it play out this way, where they're not turning this up and saying, look, we're behind this. We're against domestic violence, even against our male players. And it's something that should be talked about more. See, they're not going to dial it up because it's not being played out in the media big. But let enough, gentlemen come out and play it out big, the NFL would get right behind it. The same way they used to fine D'Angelo Williams for wearing pink to try to bring awareness to breast cancer. Then after they took a lot of heat from the fans and everybody else, every October now, what do you see the players with? Pink gloves, pink shoes, pink jerseys, pink mouthpiece. Now they get behind it.
Right.
And they get behind those movements because it becomes a bigger story. So if more people come out as males and say, "Hey, I'm being, abused and, verbally and physically," they'll change and make some adjustments.
So one thing that comes to mind is like every time something like this happens, like we kind of passively we kind of confront a female. Like, why did it take you so long to come out on this situation? Like it happened 10 years ago. Why are you saying something now? You said it in the article. This said this happened a year ago.
A year ago.
Why do you think it took Delvin Cook so long to come out now and say something about it?
Who's going to believe him?
Yeah, I was going to say, it probably took the police that long to freaking get through the report because they're like, and then all of a sudden now they're like, oh, shoot, we got to do something about this.
And we live in a world where we as individuals have our own biases. So we automatically go to what makes sense to us, right? Like
Right.
if a magician makes something disappear, we know that it didn't disappear, but we're still amazed. But we're going to figure out in our head, he clearly put it in his pocket. It's up his sleeve. Where in this case, he comes out and say, yeah, this random lady walked in my house. You know what everybody's going to say? How did she just walk in the house? Why wasn't your door locked?
Right.
Was this something where you were dating her and you were trying to make her think that she's the only one, and now all of a sudden you got a new girl and she's confronting you on it? What is the story behind it? We have a tendency to try to complete the stories ourselves, and in doing so, we inject our own biases, which makes it seem like that's not the case. So yes, it happened over a year ago, but guess what? If he comes out and say, yeah, this lady came in here, there was this drum at my house, the NFL is going to look at it like, oh, you're having dealings with the police. So for him, it's better for him to be like, look, just get her out of my house and keep it quiet and keep her away from the house, and I ain't gonna press charges. Because guess what? If he do have those conflicts, the NFL doesn't look at it and say he's a victim here. They say you have police involvement, and the next time he had police involvement, whether it be for a traffic ticket or because he really had to go to the bathroom, they had no more toilet paper, so he decided to go and walk out without any underwear because he used his underwear. Whatever they come up with, they're going to say that's a police interaction, and then he's suspended and fined. So I can understand why it would come out later, because it's like, yo, I don't want to deal with this. But something tells me the fact that it's coming out now is that particular female is probably still bothering him. And he's trying to say, you know what, before she makes up some random story, let me get ahead of this and tell the truth. It's all documented. You attacked me and came in my house without my permission. Because if not, she can easily, like you said, accuse him of something, and he can have shambles. As what happened with the Georgia player. That's why it takes so long.
Tori, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I honestly believe it's probably getting to the point now. It probably took that long for this case to probably come up. And it literally was probably, oh, this is coming up on the docket. This was going to break anyways. And I think it's more of him. It's him getting ahead of it and trying to raise awareness towards it, saying, hey, yeah, this happened. Is it, unfortunately, toxic masculinity is going to probably never go away in our culture.
Right.
It's always going to be something. There's always going to be those, I would have hit that bitch back. Like you're going to get that tough guy talk no matter what. Like, there ain't no girl going to come into my house and hit me, and I ain't going to do nothing about it. Yeah, guess what? You also don't make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And, can lose your entire life over one stupid swing
of defending yourself on top of that.
Now keep in mind, the report also says no criminal complaints have been filed in connection with this incident. So he essentially was just like, get her out the house and I'm good. He's trying to keep a hush hush. But I do want to do this really quick. I'm just going to read to you some of the comments. Watch this one. I wonder if it's the same chick he punched out in college, all grown up and looking for payback. If it is, I'll call it square. But the real story is Cook vaccinated? Here's another one. Sounds like the sergeant took a play out of Zimmer's office, attack first, then crawl up and cry out loud. Here's another one. If you want to know what it is like to be a victim of abuse and extortion, try being a Vikings fan. That'll do it. I mean, these are jokes that people are making on something that should be taken serious, and they don't care.
Tori?
Yeah, no, it's like I said, if the NFL does not get behind him and support him, like they would as if it was him that, like, as much as, like I said, if they would ostracize him and they would cast him out faster than you could shake your head, they would have him out of the league. They better have his back over something like this, because otherwise you're just a complete hypocrite. And then you can't talk about everything you talk about now goes out the window about, we don't want this in our league, and we don't condone this kind of behavior. If you're going to kick them out over one way, you better have their back the other way around as well.
Oh, how about this? Let's look at Kareem Hunt a couple years ago, right? A woman called him a racial slur and spit in his face, and he attacked back. Was it a little excessive? Yes, but he was still defending himself. So we can kind of flip the script on that. Since Hunt, defended himself past the point of defense, he got cut from the Kansas City Chiefs. So he was suspended for 9 games, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
And so if Delvin Cook would have done that, we would have probably at least heard a 9-game suspension at least, and he would probably be on the Cleveland Browns right now again.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're going to ostracize a player for that, and you're going to outcast them, you better goddamn well have their back just as much when they come out and say, this person is trying to extort me and this person is doing this. They can't do. The NFL better not damn well turn around and say, deal with it. That's your problem. No, now is your time that you need to step up and prove you really do have the players back. If Goodell wants to change the image and protect the shield, you better goddamn protect your players.
Yeah, so
I'm getting fired up about
here's another comment I wanted to read. It says, it's weird if this happened and mind you, this got over 105 thumbs up, people. Over 105 thumbs up to this statement. Weird. If this happened the way that he said it went down, why wouldn't he call the police immediately? Especially if you have an impartial witness in the event, it makes no sense. He has a history of violence and deviant behavior that he's kept in check for most of his pro career. I think there's more to this story than they're leading on to believe. Buckle up, people. I think you might find that this story is not going the way that it's supposed to. Who comes out and say anything when people are already believing that you are not my words, violent deviant?
Well, like they are instantly just like what you said, Luke. They're already casting their own judgment on the situation because he is a man with a checkered past, right? So all of a sudden he's a bad person, and there's more to the story.
The thing is his past really isn't that checkered at all.
The reality is this. Anything, and this is one of the things that we as human beings have to understand. Anything that can and will be used against you will be used against you.
Facts.
Oh, absolutely.
And so the reality of it is he could have hugged the teddy bear too hard, and they thought that was violent. And so guess what? He's a violent teddy bear hugger. Yeah. So if he's a violent teddy bear hugger, he's clearly got issues with women. Like that. Like the reality is this. I'm with you, Tori, that the NFL should be blowing this up and saying, hey, we got to find ways to better support our players who are dealing with these women and help them and make better decisions in picking these women. But no matter how it goes, it's always going to be some type of unrealistic bias put in there where a person's going to say, this only happens because this happened. This is an ex-girlfriend. This is whatever. And it's like, to me, I don't care if it's an ex-girlfriend. I don't care if it's his wife. No one deserves to have hands be put on them for any reason. And when that happens, they should be treated the same. But like we said, it's going to be one of the things that's going to get brushed under the rug, and it's going to be more about here. And just pay attention to the news in recent time. It's going to be more about what his history has been, not the sergeants, not what the military is doing, what his history has been, and how this lines up.
And that's the one thing. So there's not the criminal complaint, and there again, the military person in me is about to come out. And if you've never been in the military personnel fall under a completely different set of rules besides the law. So it's a thing called the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and it makes regular laws look like a goddamn walk in the park because they will slap you harder than anything else for a lot less. And so this sergeant, if they are still in the military, needs to be brought up in front of the UCMJ board. They need to be put up for court martial, and they need to be judged that way there and in a civil court. Both of them they need to get.
So now that we're on the topic of this masculinity sport, right? Your guys' words here. Drew brought up a comment here in the chat. The NHL players are coming out and saying that they have been sexually assaulted by coaches. So we're talking about big NFL guys being able to defend themselves. We're talking about badass hockey players that can't defend themselves by a washed up coach, right? So guys, this is getting deep now, just because like this is a grown ass men, right, getting assaulted by another grown ass man. Like, what are your first initial thoughts on that, Luke?
Is typical. Like, I mean, look at the Michigan. Look how many years people have been saying this, and God forbid, we just can't believe it. You know, nobody wants to believe that this stuff occurs, but it's occurred a number of times in a number of different sports, right? But when it happens at Michigan, the story doesn't blow up. It doesn't go anywhere, and no matter how much they fight and they try to do it, it doesn't blow up. Then we go over to Nassar with Michigan State because it's more pertaining to women. Then the story is amazing. It's huge. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And so it happens, people. It really does happen. And the truth is, I'm a social worker. I've worked in this field in a number of different areas. It happens more than you think. And many of the people who are males, who are victims, already know what's going to happen. Who's going to believe me? Who's going to believe that this occurred to me? And if I tell them, they're going to just say one or two things. Either I enjoyed it or it never happened. And the reality is, nope, these things really do happen. And we should take it more serious. So, again, I'm not shocked to hear that this is occurring in hockey because there are things you can do to extort that type of behavior. Like, I'll take your career away, or I'll cut your playing time, or, something to the effect of like, hey, if you tell anyone, I'll tell them that you are homosexual, or whatever they can come up with to shame the person out of talking.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
Which feeds right into, what do abusers that like control like to do? They will do whatever they can to keep you under that control. And so I don't know how much you guys actually know about like the stuff with the NHL. So the guy was a coach for the Blackhawks. Was he the coach or was he a physician?
He said he was a coach here in the article that I just put up. So the name here, guys, just for people that don't know, it is Kyle Beach, and this happened back in 2010. So
yes. So and so now there's multiple players coming out now and saying that during 2010, he did these things and he did them to me. Like Luke and I have talked, like in my former life, I was a correctional officer, and I have heard the most outlandish things. And there again, this feeds into the toxic masculinity and emasculating somebody that had a traumatic event happen to them and trying to justify it. I had to take an inmate to court, and it's to the state Supreme Court, and he said that a doctor at one of the institutions sexually assaulted him. And I was like, whatever, and all of a sudden it came out that it was true. Like there was like 25 inmates that this doctor had sexually assaulted. Like I was like, holy crap. Like I was guilty of that. So after that point, I tried to become more aware of like, if somebody says something, like you gotta have to take credence in it until it's proven false. But you can't walk into it anymore with unconscious bias.
Yes. So the one thing that I read through the article here is, first things first, is like he was a damn good hockey player because he was drafted like 25 or 2005 and 2006, and he was rookie of the year, player of the year these junior hockey leagues, right? And so when somebody like a figure like a coach or a general manager or like an owner threatens to take away your something that you worked your whole life for, you are going to abide by what they want to do to you, like whether that's look at you, touch you, you touch them. You don't want to lose that career, that fame, that limelight, the cash, right? So many people are probably thinking, how would a grown ass hockey player, 25 years old, allow a 6-year-old man to do this? Because of everything that I just said. I mean, it's the power control, right?
Power control, and grooming.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't even got to go that far to go power control or grooming. A lot of time what it is our brains are trained to go to the most extreme, right? So when we hear that you have been sexually assaulted, we automatically assume that somebody physically held you down and did something to you.
Right.
But sexual assault can be something as simple as maybe the doctor grabbed certain private areas or was caressing certain private areas. That could be assault. Maybe he kisses him on the neck when he's sedated, right? These things happen, but our brains are always telling us it's the most extreme. That it's the most shocking thing, and that's because we watch too much TV and too many movies, and we think that's how it play out every single time. It's violent and aggressive, but no, a lot of time it's very methodical, small, simple things like, oh, you need a physical. Yeah, I need to check to see if you have a hernia, but they're just spending a real long time in a certain area. That could be considered the same thing as assault. And I think we automatically assume, like, well, why wouldn't the guy say nothing? Because a lot of times these are coming from people that we trust. They're doctors. We're not always assuming until we think more about it and go, why was he down there so much? And what, why he keep calling me back? And and so these little things work, and it's one of the reasons why in most jails and most I know in most back in the day, in most jails used to have rooms where you can go and talk to the social worker and the psychologist, and it was a private room. And it got so bad to the point where now everything is glass. You can see every single thing. Their office is glass. There's the table, the desk is glass, because they want to take away anything, and it's cameras everywhere. And until we get to a point where we start to understand that it's not just women who are being victimized and that predators are seeking, but men are also, we're going to be doing this rat race where we're constantly just sitting here trying to make sense of it and saying, well, how does this happen? He's old and you're young. If I don't know better, or if I'm not identifying what a person is doing as a sexual assault until it comes out later down the road, how do I know?
True. Guys, like, isn't it crazy how we get in these holes? Like, we talk from MVP race to sexual assaults from football now to hockey. That is what I like about you talking with you, Luke, is because you are such a knowledgeable guy, and you talk stuff with like sense, and you think through your process. And as always, man, thank you for joining us tonight here on the show. But we definitely need to let you go. We've held up enough of your time. You just done a 2-hour show yourself, and then you've been with us for like a half hour. Thank you for your time. But before we let you go, tell the people where they can find you.
Again, Luke G's Film Review. I talk all things Detroit Lions, news, salary cap, film study. I do draft, although I'm not doing draft right now because the season is not over. Don't know why y'all have this way of thinking, but I do talk draft. And I keep it all in perspective, and I keep it objective. I take all the emotion out. I take the subjectivity out. And also I give you a chance to join the show and give your views and your opinions, and we discuss it. So check me out on Luke G's Film Review. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Phil G's. And, come over there and talk to me. I reach out to every single person who reach out to me, and we just talk ball. That's what we do.
Luke,
that's why Luke usually skips over my comments.
Yeah. Why do you always do that?
You said what now?
Why do you always skip over Tori's
why you always
comments?
Skip over my comments?
Yeah.
Towards the comments, what can I say?
They're not quite Buck-esque, but they're usually pretty close.
Right. Well, Luke, thank you for joining us, man. Hey, when we go to Vegas for the draft in April, you need a plan to come with us out there, man.
And listen, give me a heads up, enough time to plan for it. We're gonna get it done.
Right there, April. We're going to the draft, Vegas.
Hooker's blowing gambling for all.
Yeah. All right, Luke. We'll holler at you later, man.
Yes, sir, gentlemen.
All right, thanks, bud. All right, guys. So, Tori, we had a wonderful super chat come in from it was Dylan Patterson, and we already had this lined up on the show, and we are going break free all night tonight, guys. So we will be ending the show a little bit early because I still got to work in those breaks for radio purposes and whatnot. But Tori, are the Cardinals still the favorite in the NFC?
No.
Why
no.
not?
Because your quarterback's 5'4". I mean, I even took an inch away from him. I called him 5'5" before. No, I just think you're starting to see the cracks in the offense in Arizona. DeAndre Hopkins is hobbled. Kyler Murray is hobbled. These are things that are not going to get better during the season because you're still going to play. Because you are hobbled now, it's not that you're going to get better. It's just that you're going to play through it.
Right.
And how effective can you be? And I will say, compared to last year, DeAndre Hopkins is not the same receiver that he was last year for the Arizona Cardinals. AJ Green is that receiver for them this year so far. And I just don't think, I think Kyler Murray's starting to lock in on AJ Green, and he's not going to spread the ball around enough, and he's not going to know what to do when AJ Green is starting to get locked up a little bit more. And, you know, if D-Hop is banged up and not in, what's he going to do then? You know, we'll see what the status of Chase Edmonds is now. Chase Edmonds went out of the game, you know, and James Conner played good, but James Conner has also proven over the last 2 years that he can't be an every down back because he gets hurt. So this is a team that the cracks are starting to show. And there again, this is a team that missed the playoffs, that choked away the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
You still haven't made that next step. You made the step of becoming a good team and probably a playoff team, but you're not a Super Bowl caliber team. You are a playoff team. And I guarantee you, whoever they play in the first round of their playoffs, whether they get a bye or anything else, they lose that game because they are not there yet. Are they getting there? Yes. Are they there? Absolutely not.
So, Tori, you bring up some great points of the cracks of the foundation for the Arizona Cardinals, and you say they are getting there. Let me tell you why they're never going to get there. And you brought it up in Kyler Murray himself. He is 5'7", 5'8" with each inch cleats on his feet. What makes Kyler Murray so effective? Being able to use his speed, his young athletic ability. There, keyword there is young athletic ability, and be able to roll the pocket, play after play after play. What's going to happen when this nagging injury in his ankle and his hamstring and his shoulder start to catch up to him? Year 5, year 6. He is not going to be able to roll the pocket because he is not going to be able to complete passes down the field because he is 5'7". He will not be able to see over the line. He will not be able to pass the ball down the field. So for all you Cardinals fans out there that think Kyler Murray is your franchise savior, he is going to be playing for 17, 18 years. That's not going to happen. After year 5 or year 6, Kyler Murray will maybe sign a 2-year extension on his current deal. That's all he is going to do. He will not sign that 10-year mega deal like Lamar Jackson is going to sign, even though that's not warranted at all, like Patrick Mahomes signed and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Kyler Murray is not going to be those guys because he is 5'7". Whether you want to admit it or not, at the end of the day, Tori, he is 5'7". He will not play more than 6 or 7 years in the league because as you get older, the athletic ability starts to slow down, and therefore his whole game has to change, and he cannot do that here. So Dylan Patterson also asks, what happens if Kyler Murray wins the MVP like this season? It won't change my opinion at all. He's still
Lamar Jackson's won an MVP and won one playoff game.
Yeah, and he is still trash. And yes, Lamar Jackson will sign a big deal because he is Lamar Jackson, and you guys are so factuated on this stats. Oh, he has 80% or 86% of the Ravens' total offense. He's a freaking quarterback. He's supposed to. We are in a passing league. When you pass the ball, 80% of the plays, you're going to have 80% of the team's offensive yards, right? That's just the way it is. That is an absolutely minute comment. And Kyler Murray, he can win an MVP, and I think he is probably the front runner to win the MVP this year. Yes, I will give that to you. But at the end of the day, 7 years tops, 7 years tops in the league. He starts to slow down. He breaks down. And when you can't roll the pocket, you can't see over your 6'6" lineman to throw to a 5'9" or 5'11" Rondell Moore. It's just not going to happen.
No Hall of Fame quarterback was a mobile quarterback.
Yeah,
because
not even Michael Vick.
The thing, and that's where I say it, like any great learned how to become a pocket passer.
Yeah.
If you do not learn how to become a pocket passer and you are going to depend on your legs and your athletic ability, you're going to get Robert Griffin out of this league.
Yeah. So Yee comes up and says the league's offensive line height, weight, it's inevitably increasing as speed and athleticism has. So this means we're going to have a lot more Lamar Jacksons, to be honest. You are 100% correct. We are going to see a lot more of the mobile quarterback come through the ranks just because of the success that Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson has had in the last couple seasons. But with that being said, there's still only going to be 7 years worth of quarterback there. So
right.
At the end of the day, the pocket passer is going to come back into popular mode there, right? Patrick Mahomes is going to prevail. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, etc.
It all does. So if you go back, Warren Moon, when he first came to the league, one, they didn't want him to play quarterback, and because he was athletic. He eventually, guess what, became one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time because he learned how to play from the pocket. Donovan McNabb, when he came to the league, liked to run around. Guess what? Learned how to throw from the pocket. Michael Vick, as much as he could run around and the athletic freak he was when he came out, did learn how to throw out of the pocket. Like it is one of the things, it's a progression you have to have or you do not last in this league because injuries are going to take you out. You are going to blow out your knee. You set yourself, every time you roll out of that pocket, you set yourself up to end your season.
Yes.
And your chances go up every time. And guess what? You're not going to be in the league that long if you continually cannot play. You look at like my latest one, like probably closest is Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota is a mobile quarterback. He's still not great out of the pocket. And that's why Marcus Mariota was not the franchise quarterback while he was in Tennessee, because he could not become that pocket quarterback that they needed him to be. You have to have a quarterback that can see the field from the pocket, not only when he's rolling out.
Yeah, so I do have to address all of these comments here. So, guys, prior to end the show, we are going to totally scratch what we have wrote down here for like our kind of like our segues and shit, because we do have some Arizona Cardinals fan here, and I need to address these comments here. And he says that I said that Colt McCoy is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. And yes, I'm going to stand by those words. I bet you if Colt McCoy had the same exact training camps and the starts this year, the Arizona Cardinals would be better in the long run with a young Colt McCoy, not a 55-year-old Colt McCoy, because he's been in the league for what, 12 years, I think. Yes,
he's Fitzpatricking himself through the league,
right? But Colt McCoy is better at quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals than Kyler Murray is. The Arizona Cardinals would go further with a young Colt McCoy, not Colt McCoy right now. They're probably going to go about the same distance in the playoffs if Colt McCoy was to take over for the rest of the season. Definitely one and done. So I'm standing by my words. Colt McCoy is better than Kyler Murray because Colt McCoy is a better pocket passer. He has more durability than Kyler, and he is deceivingly has great athletic ability as well. So by all means, I'm standing by that, and I firmly do believe that. And then Tori, he also says that Kyler Murray is a pocket passer, and he is the one of the best to do that.
No.
Really?
When? Where? Kyler Murray likes to take off. Like, he needs to learn to become a pocket passer. He's not a pocket passer, though. He takes off. He does better right now because of his age and his ability on the go. But the thing is that's not sustainable. It doesn't. I don't care who you are. You have to learn how to stay in the pocket and pick and choose your spots where you're going to take off and run. As I said, every time when you're a mobile quarterback, you expose yourself to end your season every single time you take off.
Facts.
Because all it takes is you for that one time to take off running and think you have a lane and you don't see that safety coming from the side and you get decleated because you didn't attempt to slide and your season's done because I just broke my collarbone on my throwing shoulder, or I got hit low and there with my ACL. That's it's the nature of the beast. So that's where I say you have to learn to become a quarterback. Kyler Murray is not a pocket quarterback right now. Like, and I'll go back to like how I use for fantasy football. For fantasy football, Kyler Murray is a phenomenal quarterback to have on your team because you're going to get more points because of his rushing abilities and the fact that he can get a rushing touchdown. When you are first and goal from the 7-yard line, with Kyler Murray, you are probably more apt to run a quarterback draw and expose him to getting hit than you are with a pocket quarterback who's probably going to swing it out to either the running back or try to catch the tight end crossing over the middle or trying to hit, a corner shot in the end zone, because that's what the pocket quarterback's going to do. And it minimizes the risk of your quarterback getting hit. Whereas Cliff Kingsbury is going to use Kyler Murray at this point where it's probably going to be shotgun. He's going to take a quick look and take off right up the middle.
Yeah. So if you want to go that route, if Cliff Kingsbury stays the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, he is going to treat your guys as quarterbacks like the NFL running back. Use and abuse you for 5 or 6 years, chew you up, and like once he's done with you, spit you out, and then he is going to draft the next Oklahoma quarterback. I mean, that's just the way it is. It is going to be at the end of the day. And then he also says that the stats are proving your argument wrong. So yes, Kyler Murray is having a great season. So this was in reference to me saying that that he will only last 6 or 7 years in the league. He's having great stats. We see it, yes, but stats lie to you guys. Lamar Jackson had a great second half versus who they played this week, Tori? I can't even remember.
The one team from the NFL.
Yeah. So but Combs texted me and like he's like, wow, Lamar Jackson just had the worst first half of football ever. And then the second half he balled out. He ended up throwing for like 300 yards, like a 100 yards like on the ground, etc. So you cannot go off the stat test. You have to go off your eye test. And I see you say that we clearly don't watch Arizona Cardinals games. We watch them enough to understand that Kyler Murray is not going to last 6 or 7, or he is only going to last 6 or 7 years in the league because of his style of play. It's simple as that. Knowing football and watching football are two different things.
Huge two different things. You're looking at things as a fan. You're not looking at things as somebody that's watched football. Like for me, like I'm old. I've watched a lot of football in my life. I've seen a lot of players in my life. I can tell you, like Steve McNair, when he came to the league, running quarterback, guess what? Learned how to throw from the pocket, became one of the best that there was. I'm not saying that mobile quarterbacks can't be pocket passers, and I don't think Buck is either. But we're saying it's not sustainable to have that kind of play and try to maintain success because you cannot do it as a mobile quarterback because athletic ability, your speed, everything gets sucked from you every single year that you play in this league. If you do not learn how to become a good pocket quarterback and read the field, and your first instinct is my first and second read aren't open, I'm just going to take off, you're not lasting long in this league. And that's why we say he's not a good pocket quarterback, because he will take a look at his first and second read, and instead of dumping it off and throwing it away, he takes off. And that's where I say you set yourself up to be injured. That is why he missed a game, because he has a bum ankle.
Yep.
Because you take off, you expose yourself to getting hit and hurt. We're not saying that he's not a good quarterback. We are saying he is a good quarterback. We're just saying it's not a sustainable way to play quarterback in the NFL.
So with that being said, he also comes out and says, what does Kyler Murray have to do to prove us wrong? Does he need to win 10 Super Bowls, 10 MVPs? So, Tori, what does Kyler Murray have to do to basically not have this label of a 6-year bust type of thing?
Become a quarterback, become a true leader, become the guy that can read the entire field, become that quarterback that can read the defense from the pocket before they ever even make a move. Like, you know exactly what's coming 3 seconds before that snap does. And even though the defense hasn't shown you anything, you already know because you've already studied it. And you know that you can say, okay, I can stay here. My guy's going to be right about here. I can step up in the pocket and still make that throw, instead of panicking and saying, oh, my first couple reads were open, I'm gone. Because that's a great way to get yourself killed in this league.
Yeah. And then to piggyback on what Tori is saying, what Kyler Murray has to do to prove me wrong, it is not the number of MVPs. It is not the number of Super Bowls. It is sign a mega deal and last more than 7 years in the NFL. Once he passes that 6-year mark and he is still having success, and then he doesn't become like a journeyman backup like a Colt McCoy or Fitz or Hurts and Tua are going to be as well,
Vick.
or a Michael Vick, right? He needs to sustain his best passer rating. Those are your words, not mine. I have not looked at QBRs for him or his stats down on the field. He has to sustain it past year 6. Once he does that, I will become a Kyler Murray believer. So I don't know what else you want me to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the proof. The proof will be in the amount of time he plays in the league. Like I said, as injuries mount, we'll see what kind of quarterback he is. Because when somebody like that is forced to stay in the pocket, that's going to tell you everything that you need to know about. Is he really a good NFL quarterback? Because any quarterback can run around and make something happen with enough athletic ability.
Right.
It's what happens when everything kind of breaks down all around you, and you finally feel yourself being able to say, I can take 2 steps up and still make this throw, as you hear those footsteps. It's the difference is hearing footsteps and not having your first thought to be, I need to take off. And that's where Kyler Murray's at. His first thought needs to be, I hear those footsteps. That means I can step up in the pocket and I have to make this throw, and they know where their guy's going to be.
Yeah, and if you want a real world example like about that, look no further than the Monday night game. Big Ben stood in the pocket. New pressure was coming around him. He did step up in the pocket, and he delivered a 45-yard pass down the field that ultimately put them in, field goal position to win that game. So he did not take off like he would have done year 2 or year 3. It's that veteran presence of learning how to play the quarterback position, staying in the pocket and delivering it down the field. So, Tori, I feel like we've talked enough about Arizona Cardinals right now. There was another big question that came up from Yee here in the comments section, and he says that he saw a segment debating whether both teams would find success this year if Tom Brady was on the Ravens and Lamar was on the Bucs. Who do you think?
Wait, what is it now? If Tom Brady was where?
If Tom Brady went to the Ravens and Lamar Jackson was on the Bucs, would both teams have their success of this year?
Don't they have almost the same record?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to answer it here, and so
I'm gonna say yes, because I mean, if you have those kind of weapons to throw to, there's really no excuse. The thing is, and why I say that they both would have it. Tom Brady has shown that he could succeed in an offense without superstars. When his best, the best receiver right now for the Baltimore Ravens is Mark Andrews,
right,
the tight end. And Brady has shown that you give him a good enough tight end, Gronkowski, he can make anything happen. He could make Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins look like, Pro Bowl receivers. There's quarterbacks in this league that can just make average receivers look really, really, really good.
right.
Brett Favre was a prime example of that when he played. He never really had a true standout like number one receiver, but he made a lot of pretty average receivers look really damn good for a long time.
So I'm going to answer this in the most direct way that I can. The only reason why Lamar Jackson is having the success that he is having is because he doesn't have the receivers on his team. He is a running back playing quarterback at the end of the day. And what is making the Ravens have success right now is the Lamar Jackson's pure athletic ability to extend a play. I think
it's not Hollywood Brown dropping wide open passes like three times a game.
Right.
Like I feel it's almost to the point I feel bad for Lamar Jackson. His receivers are that terrible.
Right. But I'm going to go out it is not going out on a limb. But how do you defeat Lamar Jackson? You keep him in the pocket and make him make those accurate throws. And that's exactly what the Buccaneers thrive on, is a quarterback staying in a pocket and using all those weapons that you just mentioned. Mike Evans, Godwin, Scotty Miller, who's the other tight end just besides Gronk? OJ Simpson.
OJ Howard. Cameron Brate.
Lamar Jackson's whole game would be thrown out the window
we
when he went to the
didn't
Bucs.
even bring up Antonio Brown. Yeah. So the thing is,
and they just signed Bashad Perryman too.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, which is really funny because that's the team that drafted him.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, I think Lamar has the smarts that he would be able to play within that system. Lamar's a smart quarterback.
He is.
He just doesn't. He has no choice but to shoulder that offense at this point. And there again, that is also not sustainable for him for his career either.
No.
Get the man some damn pass catchers outside of Mark Andrews. Please. Baltimore, I beg you, get him somebody. Take OBJ so all my other fellow Packer fans can stop talking about OBJ coming to Green Bay, because I sure as hell don't want him here.
Well, it is just crazy to me that people think that. So Lamar Jackson did have a MVP his second year. You cannot dispute that. He had a great season, right? I did see in the chat that he is on pace for 5,300 yards total offense this season as well. You cannot not dispute that. But the only reason why he is on those paces and did that is because John Harbaugh doesn't have any other weapons on the offense. So with that being said, if you put Lamar Jackson on any other team that is halfway decent, Bucks, Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Cardinals, let's say the Browns, hell, even the Steelers, he would not be the MVP level quarterback that he is. If you put
because he wouldn't have to be.
Well, he would try to be pushing the ball down the field and would show how bad a quarterback he actually is. Tom Brady on any of those teams, they are probably Super Bowl caliber teams, no question in my mind. So hopefully that answered your question here a little bit. Trent Mason, what's up, Trent? I coached Trent 2-3 years ago. Big shout out to him for tuning in. He says the Ravens wide receiver core is extremely unexperienced. Rashad Bateman is showing signs of promise, though.
I will say, Rashad Bateman is starting to come on, but there again, you're still a rookie. You're still learning to run. The biggest thing that rookie receivers have to learn in the NFL is how important route running is.
Right.
Because guess what? Almost everybody's just as fast as you know at this level. So route running becomes that much more important in order to gain your separation. And that'll be the biggest thing for Rashad Bateman to become a successful receiver. A, stay healthy because now he's just getting there.
Right.
And B, learning to become a really good route runner, which ironically was what Henry Ruggs was getting really good at in his, and the only route that he'll be running is the prison route.
Might be too soon for that, but probably not. No, I'm totally kidding. He's definitely gone away for 46 years as yet, like a lot, like as he should. So I'm going to try to address some of these comments much as comments as I can in the next couple minutes here, because I do got to work in the break still for the radio and whatnot. And Dylan Peterson says that Kyle Murray actually has the second most attempts from the pocket this season in the whole NFL. You can have the second most or seventh most attempts, but how many completions does he have from the pocket? That's what I want to know. Yeah. Right? I mean, yeah. And then Trent says, "You are seriously telling me that Lamar Jackson passes more in the pocket, not doing anything than Lamar on the run?" LOL. I'm not following that one. Sorry, Trent. I'm not following that one. I mean, these are older comments, so I'm not for sure what we were talking about, like at that point. And then Drew comes out and says, Torrey and Buck, it takes experience to gain that knowledge and ability. He is referring to passing in the
or a blown ACL.
Right.
That's a real good way to learn how to throw from the pocket after you pop your first ACL.
Yeah, and I'm not going to try to talk down on Kyle or on Cliff Kingsbury coaching ability, because he had success in the college ranks. Well, kind of success, and he's having success in the NFL, but he has never had a pocket quarterback from what I can remember. They've all been roll out, roll the pocket type of thing. So
yeah, he had Mahomes at Texas Tech, and when Mahomes was gone, he lasted one more year there, and then Then he was going to be USC's offensive coordinator, and then the Arizona job all of a sudden miraculously opened up, and he got it.
I believe he had a losing record at Texas Tech, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he was he was 2 games under 500. I believe he was like 44-46 or something like that, and he was just under 500.
Yeah, and it sounds like Trent is a Combs fan here, because he says, "Really, you are talking about QBR? Jameis Winston is above Kyler Murray, so Jameis Winston is better than Kyler Murray." Huh. That sounds like a Brandon Combs comment there, isn't it?
Trent, is Brandon at your house?
You're right.
Did he push you out of the way, take over your computer?
Extortion, right there, right? No,
right.
I'm totally kidding.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. And then Drew comes out and says Lamar is more of a pocket passer now than he was a few years ago. Yeah, because that's what they've been totally emphasizing on. He is trying to prove his haters wrong that he's a pocket quarterback, and at the end of the day, your natural ability comes out and wants to scramble, right, Tori?
Right. And it's like I said, that transition comes eventually when your first instinct is to either dump the ball out of bounds or step up in the pocket. Those are instead of having to run and take off.
Right. All right, guys. So we are up against the thing here, or the time. Let me address one more comment as it just came in. Trent Mason says the one thing Lamar has yet to get down is getting down. He's been fighting for yards. Lamar has gotten bigger, yes, but does nothing to a 240-pound Mike linebacker playing down the line. Facts. That's learning how to be a quarterback, right? It's learning how to get down. So, with that being said, guys, we are up against the time. We are having to go. We gave you guys a commercial free, which is unlike me, because sometimes I got to go take a piss. But not tonight. Tori, send us out, big guy.
Man Hour Nation, thank you for joining us. Rise up.